We're nearing the end of another week here in the legislative session. Much of the session has been kind of slow, and of course it's due to the fact that we're all waiting for the education report, that being done by Dr. Lori Taylor of Texas A&M University. I've talked about this in the past. We were anticipating getting something earlier this week, but she went right to the deadline. The report was due at midnight on, I think, March 15th. So at the time of this recording, I have not heard any updates. They have not released the information from that report to the legislature. Apparently they're going to wait till sometime Friday afternoon, and that will only be released to the attorneys representing both the House and the Senate. And I suspect those legislators that stay around on Friday afternoon, most legislators are going to be on the road heading home for the weekend with various activities lined up. Now on Monday, I suspect that most of the news will be out and we'll have a little bit better idea. I remain a little bit skeptical as far as what kind of information is going to come out of that report. I suspect it's not going to be really education friendly, as a lot of people have put it. Mind you, there is also a peer review. I believe it's Dr. Jesse Levine will be looking over that report, mainly looking at their methodology. So we'll have more information on that next week. As I was told, we should have a full report, and so that might kind of give a little bit of direction to appropriations and ways and means as far as what kind of money needs to be put in the education plan. The House Taxation Committee took up legislation this week in the form of House Bill 2569. Mainly what they were looking at was the reaction, I guess you could say, or the effects of the federal tax bill on the state of Kansas. Now the state, or the federal government, increased the individual tax deduction to double the standard deduction, I should say. They doubled that, so in the past the state law had that the state of Kansas had to match that. Now since they removed that or added that double deduction, the state of Kansas has now allowed for you to also do the double deduction on your state income tax. That federal thing was going to actually cost our state about $200 million. Now by allowing Kansas to, on their state tax, to do the double deduction and not on the federal, that'll still cost the state about $34 million. A lot of activity in some of the other committees this week that aren't really looking at the effects of the education report that's coming out. A bill was taken up again to expand the rural opportunity zones. Many of you have maybe heard about this in the past. It's referred to as the ROS program. This is somewhat of a, I guess, a recruiting tool for rural areas to attract young people to come in to a rural area. They have to be non-Kansas residents to come in, and they will get a income tax deduction for 5 years. Also, there's a forgiveness of college loans up to $15,000. Now, it's been fairly successful in the education field. As a matter of fact, our Department of Education uses that, or some school districts use that as a recruiting tool to bring educators into the rural areas, forgive their loans, and also give them the tax break. Also, other areas that have seen a growth, or at least effect of this particular legislation, is the health field. And I guess the report is that the states that have reacted to this the most have been Nebraska and Colorado, where folks have come across the state line to work in our state. So it's been pretty effective, and they'd like to expand that. Monthly labor report was out. Non-farm jobs increased by 0.6%, but we did see a significant drop in other areas such as the IT information type jobs. We did see a decline in construction jobs. Now, there was a little bit of growth, I believe, in transportation, warehousing, and utilities. So a little bit of upward trend there, but not quite like what we'd like to see as far as job growth. Other things that are happening as in the Appropriations Committee, which I serve on, same as in the Ways and Means, we're putting together our budgets based on all the budget hearings that we've had, informational hearings by the agencies. And as I mentioned, this education report is going to start to see things move a little bit as far as how we're going to divide up the money amongst all the agencies and so forth. I'd like to extend congratulations to a couple residents in my district. Kim Schneeweiss in USD 49 was recently designated as a master teacher. I believe her and the other members of that 2018 class will be coming to the Capitol to be recognized in both chambers. Also, I'd like to congratulate Eric Norris, who was recently named the acting director of the Kansas State Library right here in the state capitol. Looking forward to meeting up with Eric and as he begins his new venture. Next week should be taken up quite a bit with this education report, and as I mentioned, most legislators are probably going to be on their way, but we'll probably have a wealth of information on Monday.